Okay. Um, this is a list of pet peeves I have when talking to people or not talking to them, just having to listen to them. These things that people say they drive me nuts. I don't like them. I think they're stupid. I think they're just people trying to blend in instead of trying to communicate well, instead of trying to treat English well, instead of trying to hold English in high regard. Or whatever language they speak. They probably do this shit in other languages too, but this is what I know happens in English. Number one, they say something like, she doesn't get it. The key words here are get it. This is like when you could articulate what's wrong with someone, but instead of doing that, you just take a shortcut and assume something's wrong with them and you wink at your listener to hope that they join you in your bullshit mission. Maybe they'll become an ally of yours. So you say so and so doesn't get it, or so and so gets it, and that's like supposed to be a lousy way to sound cool. It's fucking retarded. Number two, what he said was savage. What that person said was savage, or that person is savage. There's a Blackpink song called Pretty Savage, which I think sounds nice. I like the song. But I don't like how it's actually using the word. Actually, I don't even know what the lyrics of the song, but I don't like when people say this. And I probably wouldn't like. I like if I that song. I probably wouldn't like if they explained it to me because I think it would be like this. Savage is supposed to describe like someone who's not really in a like society in the way that we think of society, like in a society with a culture to it, and not with like nice technology, but not with good leadership. And when you're savage, you don't have any of that. You're just kind of off by yourself. And we used to think of savages as people who just lived in huts. Like that was a shortcut way of thinking of it. But what they would do, like you would say that an American Indian was savage if they came and attacked your homestead and murdered your family in a really gruesome way. You would say, "Oh, that was a savage set of Indians." Like it's an important word, and it's supposed to mean that. If you go and think about what a noble savage is, because you're discussing the philosophy of Rousseau, that's supposed to have a really special meaning, and no one gives a shit about that when they say this word just because someone said something kind of clever. Moving on, I'm not a very social person. I have a whole video about the word social. You can go look it up. I threw it in here, made my list longer more easily. Number four, this YouTube video is cringe. Cringe is a verb. I don't like this. This is like this is an easy way to try to pull people down instead of explaining what's actually the problem. Like when you cringe, you don't even say anything. You just like have a face that contorts. And you could say, well, there's something about this that's repulsive. But instead of saying what's repulsive about it, you say it's cringe. And you hope that your listener automatically agrees with you instead of having to think about what you're saying. It's really lazy. All right, number five. Is there anything else I want to say about cringe? I wish people would be more articulate. Like, if you're going to criticize someone, start a fucking fight. Like, you don't, like, sidestep things and just say, oh, this is cringe. And, like, that's supposed to. Your mission in life shouldn't be to constantly be joining clubs of cool people. It should be to be good and to speak well. And this is neither of those. Number five, that lady is beautiful without knowing the lady. I don't like that people throw the adjective beautiful at women without even knowing whether the woman has some moral fiber. I think this is pretty lazy. I came to this position after reading some dated Greek work, ancient Greek work, where they were talking about what it means to be good and what it means to constantly desire good things. And I conceived the adjective beautiful to mean that. And when I saw a lady that I thought was pretty, I didn't want to say, oh, that lady is beautiful, because I don't know jack shit about her. Like, I don't know if she treats people well or not. So, like, pretty or even very pretty, I think can be thrown at a lady without knowing her. But I don't throw beautiful at a lady without knowing her. And I don't. That's code for I don't call ladies beautiful anymore because I don't know any women. Number 6, I'm having first world problems. What is a first world problem? Like, this is bullshit. Like, you don't have a problem and then you need to suddenly put down the society you live in because it's apparently a first world society. You can just say you're having a problem. This is a way to just to try to convey that you feel ashamed for the fact that you are alive. Like, I don't quite understand. Like, technology alone isn't enough to make a society a first world society. I know that if you just go to class at school or to a meeting with lawmakers, that's the case. But if you're in a room behind closed doors with people you trust, you should know that being a first world country has to do with having good leadership and not living your life in a selfish way. If you want to say that the term first world has some sacred meaning. If you're just trying to bean count, then you can say that any country is a first world country as long as it's, insert economic sentence here or qualifier here. I don't know why people say this. It's another. I think it's a way. It's a way to convey shame or to sidestep responsibility for having to be a decent person, on the grounds that you have a lot of advantages that other people don't have. And if people feel uncomfortable with this, and so they put themselves down when they say this, and it's another way to try and join a cool kids club too. It's shitty. Number 7, Bob is virtue signaling. I don't know what virtue signaling means, and I don't want to go look it up. I don't want to be a part of these intellectual discussions where people are coming up with all these fake terms to describe things that could be described with 5-cent words instead of made up modern terms. It's another attempt to join a cool kids club, really. Like, you could just speak well or learn to speak well. So that's shitty. Number 8, I dislike this law because it doesn't align with my values. Well, holy fuck, man. Like, since when do people have values? Oh, that's right, they don't. They have shitty behavior or decent behavior. That book that I reviewed on my channel, the closing of the American Mind, goes to town over people saying that they have values. You can go read that if you want. Moving on to number 9, it's important to not be negative within this Discord channel. I will tolerate some occasional use of the word positive or negative to describe the kind of vibes you feel when someone's saying something, but I think negative is overused. We're not atoms. Like, we don't have electrons around us when we talk, when we treat others. Like, you don't fucking measure how charged a person is with energy when they say something to decide whether they've said something negative or positive. I don't really like that the same word is used to describe both of those things. And I think people overuse the word negative. I don't understand when people say, "Oh, I need to be positive and not negative about something." Like, so If are you saying you need to be optimistic? And if so, why didn't you just use the word optimistic? Like, what are you trying to get out of using the word negative or not negative? I think it's a pitfall to use that word when you could use another. Number 10, I'm glad to be dating someone I finally have a connection with. You're connected with anyone you're talking to. Like, if you're gonna say have a deep connection with or a special connection with, I can get on board with that. But if you just people say, "Oh, I finally have a connection with someone," and that's supposed to like mean something to me. This is like number one. They're just winking at me and hoping that I fill in the blanks because they didn't have the time to fill them in for me. So that's lazy and fucking lame. All right, well that's the video. I don't make these often, but I thought I could put something out there.